Is this a drill or something?
When Disney acquired Lucasfilm and declared that the past few decades of expanded universe stories would not be retold for the new films, fans may have felt a little upset. But as the Star Wars universe moves forward with new films and stories, fans have started to notice a few familiar elements and faces along the way. Familiar ships like the Hammerhead Corvette are making their way back into the ranks again. New faces share distinct qualities with fan favorites from years gone by, most notably Grand Admiral Thrawn. One of the most well-known villains of the expanded universe has returned. But there are still several stories and fan favorite characters who haven't quite surfaced, and their incredible stories are definitely worth a reimagining for the new canon. Mara Jade. Fans have placed Emperor's hand-turned-Jedi Master Mara Jade at the top of their lists of demand, and it's very obvious why. Beyond her role as Luke Skywalker's eventual wife, Mara Jade was one of the earliest ladies in Star Wars canon outside of Princess Leia that would generally kick some ass. Mara Jade first appeared in Timothy Zahn's legendary Heir to the Empire, which also debuted Thrawn as a primary villain throughout what would soon become known as the Thrawn trilogy. Despite being Force-sensitive, Mara Jade's real Jedi training didn't start until much later in life, and she still performed exceptionally. Some of her greatest feats, including capturing Jedi Knight Luke Skywalker, served as a top-ranking assassin and military leader under the Empire, and eventually found her way onto Luke Skywalker's Jedi Council after a personal turn to the light. Ever growing with heroines of all sorts, Mara Jade would fit right in alongside the more complex Imperial women of the new canon, such as Grand Admiral Rey Sloane or Ciena Ree.
The Emperor must be destroyed completely, or he will return and consume every last living thing. There's no cost too great. If I have to snuff out every life on this world by hand to draw the Emperor out, then so be it!
Revan, a savior, conqueror, hero and villain who has so much of a story that is being featured in multiple videos already. It takes only a quick Google search to understand the well-established expanded universe legacy of this particular character. This character is so widely popular that fans had assumed Kylo Ren would be an homage to the Force prodigy. Now, Revan's story, though, takes place thousands upon thousands of years before Ben Solo's, and since it's part of the EU, it doesn't occur within the same timeline. Revan's battle between the light and dark side of the Force made him a powerful ally to both at different points in his life. And there's honestly enough material in Revan's storyline for several characters, thanks to the various roles he played throughout his many appearances in the Knights of the Old Republic video games, books, and more. Revan essentially bounced between the light and dark sides of the Force throughout the EU's ancient Mandalorian and Jedi civil wars, making impactful moves and decisions that would go on to affect the galaxy for hundreds of decades. Some of Revan's biggest moments include his victory against Mandalore the Great, ruler of all Mandalorians, which, along with his knack for cutting down Mandos left and right, earned him the nickname Revan the Butcher within the Mandalorian combatants during the wars. But his most notable and widely known years were actually spent using the moniker of Darth Revan, where he was once a Dark Lord of the Sith. Bastila Shan. It's hard not to suggest Revan without mentioning Bastila Shan, one of the other primary players from the Old Republic years who basically won more victories for the Jedi than you can count on 4 hands. Steadfast and dedicated, Shan served throughout the years of the Jedi Civil War and, much like Revan, had her own turn to the dark side to deal with. Gifted with the ability of battle meditation, which was widely revered, Shan could notably pull energy out of her opponents while increasing the power of her allies, which served the Old Republic well until she ended up on the opposing side. It was a love for Revan that brought her back to the light, but Shan's legacy extends far beyond her time with the Force prodigy. She turned the tide of the war when her battle meditation ability was used for the Republic's purposes, and even stood against the Jedi's age-old anti-love and marriage rules. She went on to serve as a Jedi Master, and her descendants would sit atop of the Order for centuries to come. Dash Render. By the way of a strange circumstance, many view him as an extra Han Solo, which is just mean, and to an extent the hero of the Shadows of the Empire video game. Okay, he may be just that. Regardless, his adventures remain some of the most memorable from this particular era. Shadows of the Empire spans books, comics, and Dash's own video game. While his old friend Han Solo was frozen in carbonite, Dash joined up with the rebels to help out. The game saw Renner go up against foes like IG-88 and Boba Fett, giving us a real smuggler's adventure without the addition of force powers or any other crazy magic. Renner may have been hard up for cash and easy to buy, but he found himself caught up with the rebellion's antics more often than not. Rendar's mission to escort a pop star who was secretly a rebel operative is one of his earliest adventures and easily one of the most entertaining. Rendar has a few seriously fun adventures, and combining those stories with an ongoing new canon could very well offer him a chance to go above and beyond the smarmy, slightly more gruff Han Solo copy that he's often considered to be. Rendar's ship, the Outrider, is still one of the most recognizable freighters from the expanded universe, and a new chance at a canon rematch over the Castle Run wouldn't hurt in the end, would it? And I gotta say, the Outrider was in A New Hope officially, so we're very close to a Rendar.
There are dark places in the galaxy where few tread.
Creo, aka Darth Traya. This compelling character may be only featured in the storylines of Obsidian's Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2, The Sith Lords, but regardless, she is one of the more unique characters of the Star Wars expanded universe, and her mentality was one that is still rarely seen in any of the current canon Sith Lords. Creo, or Darth Traya, as she later revealed to be at the end of Sith Lords, is both a mentor to the player and the game's primary villain. Creo is so well connected with the Force that she's blind by choice, having given up her visions, which basically her eyes atrophied, in favor of seeing all things through the Force itself. As a Jedi, Creo was one of Revan's original teachers and a historian. After she turned to the dark side, Darth Traya trained both Darth Nihilus and Darth Sion before being exiled. See, Creo's unique perspective of the Force isn't quite aligned with the Jedi or the Sith. In fact, Creo thought nothing of the divide between the light and the dark sides of the Force, but unfortunately, her lean to the dark side meant that Darth Traya dealt in absolutes. In the end, she revealed her mission to destroy the Force itself using the player character. You can't even hate Creo for these motives. She sometimes seems to deliberately push you to make your own independent choices during the progress of the game, unimpressed by clear dark and light side choices at all. As the new canon works to establish a bigger story surrounding the Force and how it works, a character like Creo will be a wonderful complement to the complex nature of the Force, and she forces you to question everything you hold dear or think you know.
You have served your purpose well, my apprentice.
Galen Marek, aka Starkiller. If you thought Revan was OP, wait until you meet this fan favorite. Starkiller is now practically a household name thanks to the Force Unleashed, as well as the name Galen, thanks to Rogue One if you want to be picky, but the roots of the name rests with a powerful Sith apprentice known as Galen Marek. Starkiller is the main character of the wildly successful The Force Unleashed series, and is probably best known as Darth Vader's former secret apprentice. Starkiller's life is a long set of incredible stories, and while some of them can seem a little too over the top for the new continuity, there's so much amazing material that can be pulled to create a character to fit the new galaxy far, far away. While Marek eventually joins the light side of the Force and becomes an early hero of the Rebel Alliance, his story as Vader's apprentice is a compelling look at just how brutal the life of a Sith and its training can be. Starkiller spent many of his formative years as Vader's personal assassin and apprentice, with the sole objective of helping Vader kill Palpatine so that Marek could finally become a Sith Lord himself. Starkiller was responsible for the deaths of several Jedi Masters who escaped Order 66, and after killing Shaak Ti, Vader decided that it was time to take on Palpatine. His betrayal by Vader twice after this, and eventually he just ditches the Dark Lord title for a life as a rebel hero, but giving Vader a Sith apprentice during the new storyline might be an interesting way to make a lot of that training canon again, and also the next echelon above the standard Inquisitor that we've seen. The ongoing story of Star Wars is complex and it's ever expanding. Who would you like to see in the new films and other stories? I know that I've missed out a lot, but these are some of my very favorites. What kind of story would you like to see about the ones that we've discussed? Let me know in the comments below. And until next time, thanks for watching and may the Force be with you, always. If you want to stay up to date with the latest Star Wars videos on origins, games, and theories, don't forget to use those Force powers of yours and hit subscribe. And hey, leave a comment below about what you want to see in future videos. It may just get covered. Thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you. always.